Hi friends, welcome to today's piano tutorial. My name is Josh and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the song Strange by Celeste. This song was actually featured in an episode of Ted Lasso, that's where I first heard it, but it's just such a beautiful song. I love her voice and I love the simplicity of the lyrics. It all works together really nicely. Anyways, if you enjoy, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's learn this song. Alright everyone, let's get started with this tutorial. We have a lot to get through today. So this song is going to be in the key of D major, but I want you to look out for this note here. This is going to be B flat, and this note here you'll hear very often, even though it's not in the key, and that kind of gives this song kind of a unique, maybe you might even say a strange sound. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Anyways, we're going to be breaking this song down into the verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then we have a short bridge, and then we have like the outro of the song. There are a lot of chords, I will admit, but lots of these parts are getting repeated. You'll see as we go. But let's get started with that first verse. This part is going to be not too bad. So we're going to start here with a D chord. So I'm going to be playing D's in the left hand, and then D, F sharp, and A here in the right hand. Just like that. Now, throughout this song, I'm going to be playing octaves the whole time in the left hand. If that's too much of a stretch for you, I'd say just go for one of them. Either one is fine, if you prefer the lower sound or the higher sound. And also, we're going to be like kind of moving around a bit here in the left hand at some of the parts, so it might make it a little easier just to do it if in one hand. Anyways, back to the chords. So we had our first chord there, that's going to be our D chord. And now for our second chord, And you'll see in this verse that we're pretty much keeping this left hand exactly the same, which should make it a little bit easy. So D's in the left hand, D chord is first, and then we'll keep that D in the left hand and then go to D, now G and B flat. And that's going to be a G minor over D chord. just like that. And those are going to be the first two chords that are just going to be repeated. So we play D and G minor over D, and then we just go back. D, G minor over D. Two more times. And that is just what we're going to be repeating at the start. 4 times total through that little 2-chord progression, I guess. After we get through those first 2 lines, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting exactly the same with our D chord and our G minor over D chord. But now, instead of going back to D chord, we're going to substitute in a new chord here for the 3rd chord here. And that's just going to be this chord, B minor over D. And you see it's exactly the same as D, but now we're going to be playing this B on top instead of that A. So this is going to be B minor over D. And then we go back down to G minor over D. Then we repeat that. D, G minor over D, B minor over D, and G minor over D. And that is pretty much going to be the verse. Not too bad. Left hand is staying exactly the same, and we're just playing that little part in the right hand, moving back and forth between those chords. All right, so now to play it in time, it's going to be pretty simple here. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing 2 beats in the right hand on each chord. So it'll sound like this. Just like that. And you see the other thing that I like to do there is here in the left hand is sometimes I like to repeat this note here in the thumb right after that second B in the right hand. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Just like that. All right, let me sing a little bit of that verse now for you. Here we go. I tried for you, tried to see through all the smoke and dirt. It wouldn't move. What could I do? And then we get into the pre-chorus. So let's take a look at that pre-chorus now. We're going to have a few more chords here. This is what I was talking about earlier, where we're going to be moving around a little bit in the left hand, but it's not going to be too bad. So let's get started. Our first chord here is going to be B minor chord now. So it's exactly like that B minor over D chord we had before with D, F sharp, and B here in the right hand. But now we're actually going to be playing that root note, which is B here in the left hand. So that's going to be our first chord, B minor. Then we're going to go up to an E minor chord, so E's in the left hand with E, G, and B here in the right hand. All right. Now we're going to go up to a G chord, which is going to be G's in the left hand. We move down to a D in the right hand and then keep G and B here the same as our E minor chord. All right. And then we're going to go up lastly to this A chord. So we'll play A's here in the left hand and then E, A, and C sharp. And what I like to do on this A chord, you'll see, is I like to go up to this D, which is kind of like a suspended sound you hear. It's a little suspended, and then we resolve back to A chord, going back to the C sharp, and then sometimes I even add this top E, so it's like we're walking up on that A chord. A suspended, and A. All right, let's go over those chords one more time. B minor, E minor, G, and A suspended, and A. And then this little thing that I like to add right at the end that you hear is going to just be these G's in octaves here in the right hand. And I kind of call that like an A7 chord, because if we have like our A chord still, this is the 7th of A. 1, 3, 5, and 7. G is our 7th. And that kind of transition us back to that D chord. All right, so now playing this in time, it's gonna be very similar to the verse in that we're gonna be giving each one 2 beats, except once we get to the G chord, we're gonna linger on that chord a little bit longer. Let me show you what I mean. So we start here with B minor for 2 beats, then we go to E minor for 2 beats, and then we go to G here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see that G chord is actually getting a full measure, a full 4 beats. And then that A chord, we're playing 2 beats on A, 2 on A suspended, and 2 more on A, and then going up to that G, which is our A7 chord, on that last beat, on those last 2 beats, excuse me. All right, now playing that whole pre-chorus together, here we go. I touch your head and pull your thoughts into my hand, but now I can't say, isn't it strange? And that's going to be getting us into the chorus. All right, so now getting into the chorus. At first glance, this may seem like a ton of more chords to learn, but you're going to see that this is actually going to be repeating kind of the second half of the verse and the pre-chorus. That's how we're going to be starting the chorus, and then there's just going to be a little bit at the end that is going to be new. But let's go through that. So we start this chorus with, like I said, that second half of the verse where we're just going D, G minor over D, B minor over D, and G minor over D. Remember that? It's just like that. We repeat that. All right. And then we go into the same chords here as the pre-chorus. So B minor, E minor, G, and then A suspended, A, and then we play that 7th. So yeah, just go back and rewatch those sections if you need a little more time practicing that, but it's exactly the same up until then. And then what you hear when we get to this second part where she sings, "Isn't it strange?" again, we're gonna go back to our D chord now. All right, so just like before, D's in the left hand and then D, F sharp, A in the right hand. And now we're gonna be walking down half steps here in the left hand. So we'll go down to C sharp now in the left hand and then C sharp, F sharp, and A in the right hand. That's gonna be F sharp minor over C sharp. And then we'll go down one more half step to C's now in the left hand and then C, F sharp, A. So this is gonna be D7 over C. So you see these 2 notes are staying the same, and then these 3 are just walking down. D, F sharp minor over C sharp, and D7 over C. Now we're gonna go to a G chord over B. So B's in the left hand, B, D, G, and B here in the right hand. Or if you wanna just play these 3, that's okay as well. So G over B, we'll keep walking down now by a whole step to A, so A's in the left hand, and then A, D, F sharp, A in the right hand. That's a D chord over A's. All right, and then we're gonna go here to this B7 chord. So B, F sharp, or excuse me, D sharp, F sharp, and A. Lots of times I just like to play this F sharp on top at first, and then when we go up to D sharps here in the left hand, that's when I'll throw in that A. So B7 over D sharp, right? Just like that. And then we're gonna go, actually before we go on, let's review everything that we just did real quick. So the second part of this chorus here, D, F sharp minor over C sharp, D7 over C. So those 3 chords. Now we're going to be playing 3 more chords here. G, D over A, and then B7, B7 and B7 over D sharp. Basically the same chord, but just changing the left hand. All right. Continuing on now, we go to our E minor chord. So we've played that one before, I think. So E's in the left hand, E, G, B here in the right hand. All right. Now, like before, what we did is we went up to a G chord and then up to an A chord, but instead what we're going to be doing here after our E minor chord is we're going to be going to this chord here, which is kind of a funky chord, playing A's in the left hand, but then we're going to be playing a full G chord here in the right hand. So D, G, B, and D. And that is going to be a G over A chord. And that kind of gives us, you know, a bit of a different sound, which I really like. So then after that G over A chord, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be going to this funky chord here. And this is going to be an A7 flat 9 chord. So A's in the left hand, E, G, B flat, and C sharp here. And let me break that chord down a little bit for you so you can kind of understand what's going on there. A, C sharp, and E, that's a basic A chord, right? We add the G here, that is our 7th, so now we have an A7 chord. And now if we add this B on top, we have A7 9 chord. But if we take this B now and we move it down a half step, we have A7 flat 9 chord. And then all I'm doing, you see, we have these notes. I'm just taking this C sharp here and playing it on top. And that's how I get this chord, A7 flat 9. And then we go right back to D, G minor over D, and D again. All right. All right, so now looking at the rhythm in this section here, we already learned it for the first half, so I'm going to skip over that for now. But here in the second half, what we're going to be doing, going back to that D chord, and then this part here. So we'll be playing 2 beats on each chord, but then this D7 over C, that's going to be getting the last 4 beats, so a full measure there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here in this next measure, or this next line, I guess, each of these chords will get 2 beats, G, D, and B, just like that. And then we go up to E, that'll get 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll go to 2 beats on G over A, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 beats on that A7 flat 9 chord, and then we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is kind of how that whole chorus goes. I know that's a lot. Take some time, go back and rewatch that if you had some trouble picking up all those chords. Let me sing a little bit of that part along with you so you can try to get an understanding of how it all fits together with the lyrics as well. All right, I'll start from the end of the pre-chorus so we get a bit of it going into it. Here we go. Say, isn't it strange? Isn't it strange? I am still me, you are still you, in the same place. Isn't it strange how people can change? Strangers to friends, friends into lovers, and strangers again. And there you go. All right, I'm just going to very briefly go through these last couple sections here, the bridge and the outro. So let's go through those right away. So this bridge is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be 4 chords. We're going to go D chord here first, F sharp, A, D in the right hand. Then we're going to D minor over F's here. So F's in the left hand, and then we'll go to F here, and then A, D in the right hand. Down to E minor 7, so E's in the left hand, E, G, B, D. And then A's in the left hand, E, A, C sharp. And then we just repeat those 4 chords for the bridge. And yeah, we go over that line 4 times, and that's going to be the whole bridge. Lastly, in the outro of the song here, we're going to be starting here on this B minor chord. So just like this, we're going to be playing this for 4 beats. So B's in the left hand, D, F sharp, and B. Then we'll go down, move all the B's down to A's. So we have A's in the left hand, D, F sharp, A. That's going to be our D over A chord. And then we go down to an E7 chord over G sharp. So G sharp's in the left hand. Sometimes I have this E maybe, and then play, I don't know, B, D, E, G sharp, or any like combination of those notes. And then I like to go up to B and D here in the right hand. So that part there, that's our B minor. D over A, 4 beats on each. And that's just going to be our E7 chord over the G sharp. Then we end with just a couple more chords. G minor, so G's, D, G, B flat. We go back to G over A and A7 flat 9 just like before. And then the last couple chords here, D. We have one new chord at the very end here. This is going to be G diminished 7, so G, B flat, D flat, E, and G. Kind of a different sound just to get us a bit different at the end, and then we go right back to our D chord. All right, that outro, let me just play through one time. That'll sound like this. There it is. All right, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember to leave a like or a comment or both. And you can also leave a comment if you have a song you'd like to suggest for me to do on this channel. All right, have a great day. I'll see you next time.